Yeah, I think the news helps to increase clicks, but it doesn't help sell houses, at the end of the day.
You partner with the wrong person, bro. You're cooked. What were your challenges and how did you guys overcome them, especially in the beginning, to get to the point where you're at now that you're like, well, we doubled?
Dave Walter's still selling houses. Gary Kushishin's still selling. Like,
100%.
you think that they really care what the news said? They're gonna capitalize. I remember when COVID came, everybody was so scared. I was scared too, but then I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy into this. I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna outwork everybody. And I'm gonna end up on top. I'm not gonna be a victim. I refuse to be a victim. Period. To create this business, I worked 70 hours a week for like 9 years straight. I had no life. I was an athlete. I gained 40 or 50 pounds. Like, I paid the price, bro. I paid the price big. When you come up and you get to a new level, it's like you did all these things the same and then you're trying to like deal with this new animal with the same methods, and it just don't work. And if you don't evolve at that point, you're not gonna go up, you're gonna go down.
Okay, guys, so take two because I forgot to hit record on the audio, so my bad.
All good.
Yeah, so we were a few minutes in, but we're starting over. Just wanted to say thank you for coming out and being here. I know both of you are very busy. I know that you guys have a lot going on, not just with business, but and family. So I really appreciate you guys coming. Justin, he knows this. And Nick, you guys have a very special place in my heart and in my team's heart. Really, we really appreciate you guys. We'll get into that. Three main things, actually four things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I wanted to ask you, do you believe that this year is going to suck for you? And if you don't, why not? Two, I wanted to talk about your guys' dynamic because I met Justin. I actually met you before Nick came to the team. And so at the time, I remember you were very stressed out and you had a lot going on because your business was exploding, but you needed help. And I know that came with different challenges, and setting foundations, I think, is something that I'd like to kind of ask you how you guys manage that, how you guys set that up. I want to talk to you guys about family because I know that you, Justin, like I was saying earlier, I know your wife still loves you. And
I think so, yeah.
I think so.
Muscle man.
And your children are just, man, you are their hero, man. Like man, you're a great father to those kids. And so I want to talk about that as well, kind of how you manage all of these things. And then lastly, I also want to talk about, now you used to have this fear of the camera. And how do I know this? Because I was always the guy that put the camera in your face. And now we see you here, a totally different man. I know you're going through it, but I think there's a lot of people that can connect to that, even have had that fear or have that fear. And just kind of like what your journey has been like and how that's been impacting your business. So kind of want to talk about those different things. So let's start off with my first question. A lot of people are coming into what is now year two of economy changing, interest rates significantly changing, inflation, wars, like all these different things that are going on. And so that affects people's psyche. It affects people's minds. It affects people's future because I think it's going to be bad. And so I wanted to ask you and Nick, I wanted to ask you both, because you're coming from a year. You guys had an exceptional year last year, and not a lot of people can say that. And so, are you expecting 2025 to suck with all the challenges that are coming? And if you're not, why not?
Go ahead.
Well, I think me and Nick, we don't drink the Kool-Aid. And we don't really listen to the noise. I try not to even watch the news. And when you stage a house, less is more? That's the same thing for me in my head. So we try to take care of our clients, and we try to win big for them and try to take care of the team and make sure that everybody's eating. And I think that we take care of what's in front of us, and we don't let the negativity get to us.
How do you do that while at the same time staying informed? You know what I'm saying? Because I understand like the drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay. How do you, or do you just like live under a rock and you're like, I don't care what's going on. I only care about my clients and my family and my friends. Like what? So what does that look like? How do you stay informed? How does that work?
You know, I'm probably not as informed as some people, but I'm inundated, and I really, really care, and my whole team cares, and I think that takes most of our attention. The news and a lot of those outside sources, they affect the way I feel, and I'm a comfort-oriented person, and I perform best when I feel safe and comfortable, and so I kind of try to keep myself on a leash from getting outside that box. I don't like to feel anxious or scared, you know, more than I need to be, because I got to perform the next day.
What do you think, Nick?
I think a lot of times the news that's hitting the street is after the fact, as opposed to us. You know, we're, you know, on the beat every day, and we have our finger on the pulse of the market. You know, especially with the amount of volume that we do. So we don't spend a lot of time, you know, listening, as Justin said, to the noise, because we know that our efforts, our team, our strategy, and our skills supersede that. You know, so we don't get stuck in that mix. You know, for us, we know that we keep putting our head down and doing what we do. And when our team and ourselves, you know, believe wholeheartedly, you know, in doing what's best for the client, we know that success will come. You know, so we don't worry about the external factors. We worry about the internal factors, about what we can control, not what we can't.
Did the interest rates, like when they just sharply started increasing, did that really affect you guys? It's from my standpoint, it seems like it not so much, because you guys still kept going with, you know, the pretty similar amount of volume that you guys always had. Did it not affect you? Is that why you guys are speaking this way, or genuinely you guys are like, no, we just don't care. We just keep our heads down and just continue to grind?
I mean, our market's not that interest rate sensitive. It's more like confidence sensitive. So, you know, people are always selling and people are always buying. And
in your market?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in our market. I mean, we're pretty wide. We service everybody, but in our market, it's not as interest rate sensitive as it is confidence sensitive. And so, you know, I don't know. I think that a lot of people get lost and hide in the corner because of what was said or you know, broadcasted or whatever. And like, you know, those people are not paying my bills.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. No, and that's so true, man, because, you know, it's just so much hyperbole. Like, it's so much, everything is sensationalized. Like, everything is, if, you know, it's the end of the world, or this is going to come right. It's like happening in your doorstep. I mean, you guys just experienced a situation where, did you guys get evacuated? Like, you know, all of these different things. Almost, right? So you have all of these things going on. You're hearing the news and it's like, no, a big wall of fire is going to come and consume all of your belongings and, you know, threaten your family. So you're saying that even though all that's going on, you stay hyper-focused.
Look, man, Nick's a great father. I'm a great father, and we're great businessmen too, but we focus on our families and our business, and the rest of it is kind of, you know, way tertiary. It's like, I think that if you fulfill or you fill yourself with what needs to be done, with taking your kids to school, taking them to baseball, you know, going to the listing appointments, following up with clients, winning for clients, I don't think there's that much more space, unless you allow there to be, for negativity.
And it doesn't really affect you. That's at the end of the day. No, you're right. At the end of the day, it doesn't help you and it doesn't affect you. What affects you is, because a lot of times the news is like, this is what's going on out here. But then in here, it's like, if you don't invite that in, well, it doesn't really impact you.
Yeah, I think the news helps to increase clicks, but it doesn't help sell houses. at the end of the day.
That's the quote.
We don't like getting stuck inside that space, For us, 4 years ago, we're, about 47 million, that we ended up doing in transactions.
It's awesome, man.
And, if we paid attention to everything with the interest rates and, had that, chicken little mindset instead of a mamba mentality, then chances are we'd probably still be where we were at, or maybe even less. But because of the foundations, that were originally built, or started to be put together, by Justin, and that he had established, and then I was able to help come in and work together with him to help kind of refine that. And there's still a lot of room for improvement. Every day there's room for improvement, and that's also a mindset that we have, But we've been able to almost double that business in the last 4 years.
Get out of here. Yeah. Well, that's a really good point, man, because a lot of people, they start their career and they're like, okay, well, because the first couple of years, bro, it's a challenge for anybody. I don't care what business you're in. It's a challenge for everybody to get your systems, to really understand the flow, understand the business, understand what your client's looking for. So then you start to grow, and especially this happens for realtors. You start to grow, but then you get to the point where it's like, it's too much for you if you're doing it by yourself. But then there's this fear inside of you that's like, well, I've tried to hire someone, but I don't know how to, or I don't know exactly.
The wrong person.
Or you hire the wrong person, exactly. And so how did you guys navigate that? Because you're not like, just from what I see, you're not just Nick's assistant. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems more like a partnership. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah. And so how did you guys get there? Because you partner with the wrong person, bro, you're cooked. You know what I'm saying? So like, what were your challenges and how did you guys overcome them, especially in the beginning, to get to the point where you're at now that you're like, well, we doubled and we're still, we still love each other?
I think a lot of it was timing. And Nick and I grew up together and we've always been very close. We've shared a lot of incredible memories. We played college baseball together. We traveled the world together. We did a lot. And so we had a bond. And he's always been like kind of like a health enthusiast, or like a encouraging friend when it comes to my health and cycling. And he always inspired me to want to be better, even before we were in business together. And so we had that base. And I think that the biggest thing for me in bringing Nick on was me doing work on me, and me letting go and trusting Nick and believing in Nick and really, like this baby Shore Homes that I kind of created and started was like, this is our baby now. And there's a process to that. And
that's so good. So
like I went outside the box. I've always kind of gone outside the box with therapists and, business coaches, all kind of different things. And I searched to be a better father to my kids, a better employer to my team, and a better friend. But I looked at what I was bringing and what I could improve and kind of like I was really tried to be honest with what I was good at and what I wasn't good at. And Nick's good at everything, so it's really priceless to be able to lean on someone like that that's better than you at certain things.
Yeah.
And that you can trust. Those two things together are very, very important.
It's all very well said, bro, because let's start off with the first thing you said. You said it comes down to timing. When I hear that, when I hear timing in the context that you put it in, I hear maturity. I hear timing is like, all right, let's just picture someone in their 20s. Or, you're 15, you have this certain level of maturity. All right, now you're 25. If you work on yourself, you have this other level of maturity. Now you're 35, those 10 years, if you worked on yourself, you have another layer of maturity. So when I hear time, it's like, well, and you said it, you said the timing was good because I had already started working on myself, because I had already seen if I just lean on myself, like I'm super stressed out, which stress leads to health issues. which leads to a bad quality of life, not just for you, but everybody around you, because you're not operating at your best. So you're saying, I recognized that I needed support and I needed help. So what did I do? I started working on myself. You mentioned coaching, you mentioned therapy, and that positioned me to be at a place where I'm like, yes, this is my baby. I love this baby so much. It took blood, sweat, tears, countless hours to build this baby up to where it's at right now. But now maturity tells me that I have to share this baby and I have to begin to let go so that it can grow up to be a toddler or a juvenile, just grow.
Mm-hmm. I think ego is a big thing that gets in a lot of people's way. Mm-hmm. And I think like letting go is something that's very difficult for humans. And I think that it's understandable. But if you want to evolve and grow, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to look at those two things, and you have to be willing to make adjustments in order to move forward. I could never have grown the business the way I have without putting the initial team around me with our painter, all of our vendors, and then putting Nick in place was a game changer because he brought a whole different element and a different type of perspective and vision that I could never have seen because of his background, and that timing for him was the same thing. He had a very successful company and COVID affected him. And I think he could confirm, but I don't know if he really liked that business, but he was a real estate guy. And I knew that from the beginning. I was trying to get him to come on the team for a decade, bro.
Really? But it's timing. He wasn't ready.
But that's what I'm saying.
And neither were you.
But here's the thing, bro, is I experienced other people that I worked with that I tried to make Nick, and they were the wrong people. I think like choosing wisely is so important, and putting your money where your mouth is also important. Like you're not gonna ever get someone that's special and top tier unless you're willing to really give. And he deserves it. And so I think the experiences that I went through and the failures and the pain and all those things combined with the work I did allowed me to let go of my ego and let go of control so that we could kind of combine forces.
You agree?
Yeah. I think, back to the initial question, some of the challenges, from my perspective, and part of the things that were very exciting for me, and there was things I didn't even know about, after being friends with Justin for so many years, when you're working together on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different, but, I think I've learned so much in the time that we've spent together, aspects of my ego that I didn't know about, that you have to look at, and a lot of times it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to get your growth, you know? And there's, certain things that I was doing, to myself, like psychologically that I couldn't see, that I, leaned on him to expose, and vice versa. And there's, elements of empathy that Justin has innately that I don't, I'm a very empathetic person in some ways, but in other ways I have a lot of work to do, and Justin has probably the biggest heart second to his mom that I've ever seen, and it's a beautiful thing,
I've seen that.
but it's not easy, for him to carry that, sometimes, but he's opened up, some vision for me on how to be more empathetic in some cases, because I'm goal oriented and I like to get things done. He also has an abundance of confidence, I don't know where it comes from, but you know, this guy, you know, just has always, since we were kids, had this abundance of confidence. And for myself, I had confidence, you know, in some perspectives, but I wasn't truly able to kind of open up who I am until, you know, some of it through osmosis, you know, and just being around him as much as I am, you know. But looking at Justin, be like, why is he so confident about that, you know? And
is it the way you were fathered and mothered? Like, what is it? That's because that's a good point. Because I've seen that as well. You're like, yeah, and even now, like what you're saying, your outlook for this year, and you know, your confidence in bringing him on board. You know, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, it's massive amount of confidence.
I will tell you, you know, last year was both of our biggest years of our careers.
Last year,
yeah,
the biggest year. You're not kidding.
No.
Not even 2021. Even bigger than 2021.
Bigger.
Get out of here, bro.
No, and I'm telling you right now,
Wow, that's amazing, guys. That's amazing.
Thank you,
bro. That's amazing.
it's not the market. It's what you make of. It's like, you know, you could have all this chatter or whatever. Dave Walter's still selling houses.
100%.
Gary Kushishin's still like.
100%.
You think that they really care what the news said, or like they're not gonna go, you know, be scared and not go to work today. They're gonna capitalize. I remember when COVID came, everybody was so scared, and I was working with another gentleman, and I was scared too. But then I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy into this. I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna outwork everybody, and I'm gonna end up on top. You know, and I think that that's the mentality. It's like I'm not gonna be a victim.
Okay.
I refuse to be a victim. Period.
It's good.
one of my biggest mentors, you know, like I've never met, you know, would be Kobe Bryant and his mentality, you know, his from a professional perspective, I respect, you know, the way that he's managed himself. And, you know, you know, when we think like that, you know, like, oh, the sky's falling, or what's the noise and what's the external factors? The truth is, at the end of the day, like, I always think like he'd be in the gym working out, like he'd be preparing for the next game. He'd be watching video.
Yeah,
like
true.
He would be figuring out what the competition's doing and how to expand himself. And you know, I see Justin and myself as Michael and Kobe. You know, and there's a reason why I have that in the back of my office. You know, in the back of my office, I have a large picture of Michael Jordan and Kobe standing next to each other, because I truly believe that's who we are. And I don't even think, you know, I really don't feel like we've scratched the surface of who we can become. I feel like we have so much more to perform. And I think when we get the right pieces in place, like we can easily do $100 million more in real estate. And that's the truth. And we believe it wholeheartedly, you know?
Shore Holmes is looking for an impact player that wants to have that same mentality and come on and handle business and grow a big career.
Like another Nick and Justin.
There's no Nick and Justin part. And it's not like I want to paint this picture of this perfect person, because you already know. When you go looking for a house, you think you want this, but you buy that. We're looking for the right person.
Yeah.
We want someone that meshes with the team, that we can like exploit their, you know, strong points.
Yeah.
That we're looking for someone special.
It's good, man.
We want a unicorn. If you know anybody, let me know.
All right.
we literally have oodles of accessible business that we can't tap into, and that we're figuring out ways to tap into.
What do you mean? Okay, let's break that down.
Like
what
red
do you
hot
mean?
leads, like brand new listings, like all of it, like everything. And then obviously you get to roll with Eagles.
So you're not looking for a buyer's agent. That's not what you're saying. You're not looking for someone that's gonna. You're looking for someone like what exactly?
We are looking for the right person that's gonna mesh well with our team. And I don't want to put a description on it, because if I would have thought I was gonna pick a person, it wouldn't be him. You have to. We're open to the universe, and we want the right people, and we can refine it however it goes from there. We have a lot of workload, a lot of opportunities, and we're looking for someone very special.
That's awesome, guys. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love how you guys say it too, like with such seriousness. Like we're looking for a unicorn, and we're gonna find one.
Well, we put that intention out, and
I believe it, man.
we're gonna manifest it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. That's really cool. No, and that's it. You know, that's the thing. I think a lot of people reach this pinnacle in their career, which becomes a plateau. And so it's like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to reinvent myself to be able to, because the fun isn't when you're at the pinnacle. It's not fun at the pinnacle. It's actually very lonely. Like the pinnacle is like, bro, like what's fun and exciting is like the journey as you're going up. So you reach this place, the pinnacle, which becomes the plateau. Then it's like, okay, well, what's, you know, how are we going to continue? Like what's the next stage? There's always the next level. When you think like, oh, I'm already the top person, that's when you're like the most foolish, because it's like, bro, there's always someone greater than you. There's always someone that does things better than you do, you know? And so why not learn from them? You know, are you meant to go to that next level? If you're not, then you're comfortable and you've already done what you've done, then maybe you've arrived. But I guess I've never spoken to anybody that has that mentality, at least anybody that's successful, that has that mentality of like, oh, I've already arrived, I'm not doing anything else. You know, and even if they are, they're there for like a few months and then they're like miserable because they're like, dude, I want to go to the next level, whatever it is.
You'd be surprised, man. Our goals are more like spend time with our kids, you know, like work on ourselves. You'd be surprised. We're a different type of outfit, you know. My Uncle Frank was a mentor of mine, and he told me, I'll never forget it. He said that it's not hard to get to the top, it's hard to stay at the top, right? And so we're trying to stay at the top, but we're also trying to evolve as people, and we want to be good fathers. Like, to me, I don't care if I make more money. I just want to be with my family.
What does that mean? Good father.
I want to travel. I want to pick them up from school. I want to take them to school. I want to be the coach on both of the baseball teams. I want to have the time and the presence and the space to connect with them every day. I want to tuck them in at night. I want to have family dinners. You know, it's like it's way more important to me to have that than it is to make money. Like, I really feel like when I take care of that, the money comes organic.
It's funny how that works, huh?
Well, that's the truth. I mean, that was one of the things that we talked about initially when Justin and I got together as well, is one of the, you know, shortfalls of his success, you know, was, as you saw, you were there in person, was the stress level, was his physical well-being, his amount of time that he was able to spend with his family. You know, he was spending time, but not as much as he wanted. And there was also just a lot going on, you know, psychologically, it's a lot to manage. You know, your phone doesn't stop, you know, 24/7.
Is that why you ended up so like stressed out? Because I remember that day, bro. Like, I remember that day very clearly. You were just it was like,
when I went to the hospital.
Yeah, bro. That was like, man, that was like, I think that was the lowest point. It was crazy because in your career, it was blowing up, like taking off. But then like I saw you that day, bro. Like, I was at your house. I don't even know what I was doing at your house, but I was at your house.
You were filming the house next door.
Okay, there you go.
Remember we had
I was filming the house next door, and I saw you, and so you're saying that this was everything. Like, this is why you were at that place. You didn't have enough time to spend with your family. Your phone was ringing off the hook, and you know you didn't have that support around you. Was that the reason why?
You know, to create this business, I worked 70 hours a week for like 9 years straight. I had no life. I was an athlete. I gained 40 or 50 pounds. Like, I paid the price, bro. I paid the price big.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I did. And then, you know, when you come up and you get to a new level, it's like you did all these things the same, and then you're trying to like deal with this new animal with the same methods, and it just don't work. And if you don't evolve at that point, you're not going to go up. You're going to go down. So I had a choice. You know, I had a choice, and I really tried to experiment with other people that didn't work. They were the wrong fit, or you know, weren't the right face for Shore Homes. But again, you know, I got to give it to God and timing, and He was. So and I have to give it to myself for being prepared to accept it and let go. But you know, when it came up, it clicked, and I continue to work on myself, because you know, it's not easy to have a partner that comes in and be able to manage yourself. You know, like the first 15 years of my career, I was alone. You know, and so now there's a new person. It's like getting married almost. You know?
And I think that's where a lot of people struggle within this industry, is they believe you know, maybe because they've had a couple bad experiences, or maybe they're just too scared to have an experience, you know, and they don't
Or
realize,
scared to spend the money.
or scared to spend the money. Yeah. But they don't realize that the sum of the parts is greater, you know, and that if you bring in the right fit, it's going to be exponentially better. You know, from my perspective, when I came in to see, you know, my friend at that point, you know, with Justin, and I could immediately see, like, I'm detail oriented. I have, you know, 15 years of operations experience in global events. Like, I could see the holes. And not only that, I could see that Justin was a fish out of water, you know, being the demand of this industry with the value add of the team was asking him to be detail oriented and things that he's not good at. He's not naturally good in those spaces. And the problem is that we needed to put him inside of a space which he's amazing at, which is being a rainmaker. Justin is a rainmaker. He's a business person. He takes that big heart and that empathy and can sit down at dinner, lunch, or coffee with somebody, or have a phone call with somebody and really connect with them immediately with his heart. and that's ultimately where he shines. You know, and that's where he needs to be. And so, you know, you don't.
So you're saying listing presentations, you're saying listing appointments, you're saying anytime that there's an interaction with the
not presentations. You got to get him away from the details. He's not a detail guy. Justin shouldn't put together listing presentations.
No, I'm saying like when he's meeting with the client.
Yeah, that's listing appointments.
Listing appointments, appointments, yeah.
So the presentation, everything up until the point where he comes into the door to have the conversation, our goal is to not have him be a part of that, because what he's best at is sitting in the room and connecting. He knows the market, he knows the house, he knows the emotion, but he knows how he has vision.
Yeah.
You know, he can see a house, he can see what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
With my 15 years, you know, in global event experience plus previous real estate industry.
Yeah.
My special power is seeing space.
Yeah.
So like I see space as well. So like collectively we can work together and we have a parallel, you know, universe there. But outside of that, when it comes to details, keep him away from it. It stresses him out. It takes time away from his family.
Deal maker, bro. I'm an elite deal maker.
You
Nick's good at everything. I mean, he's an elite deal maker that's like, you know, that's detail oriented, and he can also connect on everything. I'm a one trick pony.
Yeah.
I think that's extremely discounted, but when we first started, the goal was to keep him in what he's amazing at and to get him out of things that he's not. And to take that time where he was spending in things that were, you know, going to put him in the hospital, you know, because of anxiety and panic attacks, which I have a big background in, but to put him in a place, instead of using the time there, put it in a place where it's going to help him be an even better deal maker.
So so
now that's spending time with the family.
First year you came on, what were those things, like specifically?
Like that we alleviated him from?
Yeah. Okay. So you were here. You're like, Nick, bro, I need help. He came on. The first year, what were the first things that you instituted?
Well, I will say that before Nick, there was no real game plan. I wasn't, you know, I was just flying by the seat of my pants. And so then every week we have a team meeting, and we got a big whiteboard. And then it was like I had a big coloring book that I could like look at. And I have a photographic memory. So that really helps me to be able to write it on the board and see it, because then I remember it. And so, because, you know, I would forget to follow up with people, and he just organized me. And then it happened by accident, but I took him to a listing appointment, and the first listing appointment I took him to was that big house on Calvert. You remember?
I remember that one.
Yeah,
the
it
one
was like
where
$4
they had
million house. Yeah,
like the Teslas in the front.
We walked in, it was a lease listing.
That's one of the first
appointment.
listings.
Oh, I remember that one.
Because we had traveled so much and we had a bond, bro. We go into any room and it's like, you know, it's like we're 18 again, going to the bar looking for girls. It's like the same dynamic, you know? So
now instead of getting girls, you get listings.
That's it.
But it's the same.
Funny. Hang on, bro. That's funny, bro. That's hilarious.
the truth.
It's the same flow.
He's your wingman.
Yeah,
Or each other.
vice versa.
Straight up. But sometimes I'm his wingman.
Yeah.
Too. Sometimes like I'll go in and I'll be timid and he'll run point. We just
Bro, come on, man.
When we travel,
She's too good for me. She's too good. No, she's not, bro.
when we would travel together, I wouldn't have to tell him nothing. We would just both know we're leaving, right? And it was just like you flow together, and we always flow together. And so that's what we do in the room, and we leave our ego at the door. And I can go in a room and close without him, and he can go in a room and close without me. But when we're together, we're better.
Yeah,
we're
I see.
better.
That's cool. That's cool. So then you were saying that first one, that big lease listing.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, that worked. You know, we got that big listing, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna start taking them. You know, because I like off record, I feel more comfortable when he's there. You know, like I just like he's my binky. You know?
Yeah. but also speaking to that, like what a tremendous psychological shift for an alpha and for somebody who's been slaying it for so long to be able to have the trust of bringing in somebody into that very sensitive space.
Yeah.
You know that you have to be able to control the conversation. You have to be able to listen. You have to be able to control distance of how close you are standing to somebody, body language, and you have to be able to read the room and read it quickly. And that was a big shift. That was a huge shift for Justin to be able to trust to bring somebody into the room, anybody. You know, that was big.
So then we built on that. And I was like, he's gonna be the marketing guru. But the truth is like I just wanted him to be there with me. And then I would have him talk about marketing, and he'd bring out the Excel spreadsheet. And But I was really like, you know, I liked it, and also it was like it added another layer for me going in because I had super elite, confident like deal maker with me, and then I could see the seller in their eyes. They're like, well, you know, Sean McGlynn didn't have someone like this or this like he's bringing a different package here. You know, this is more of a team, and then it grew from there because he started coming in and just bringing, you know, when he was called on, and then now it's like we don't have a script, but sometimes he says a lot more than me, and sometimes it's just what the room needs. And we refined it. Every listing appointment, we don't talk about it as much anymore, but we literally, after every listing appointment, we would talk about how we could get better. He taped a bunch of them. You know, like we refined the craft.
You tape the actual listing appointments?
All the time.
No, I don't know.
No, yeah.
I wear the glasses?
There's an aspect to, there's a refinement. And for us, the listing appointment is game time, and that's the way we viewed it.
So you want to see the film?
We don't want to.
Makes sense.
We don't want to see the film. We want to hear the interaction, and we want to understand the timing.
That's so
and we
good.
want to understand if for some reason we didn't get a listing. Him and I would revisit, like, okay, was there a section inside of this listing appointment where we could have done that, or no, we did everything we could have done.
Or should we have said nothing right there?
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's it.
Sometimes saying nothing is everything.
Good.
That's right.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, man, I love this. You want to know why? Because I'm recalling earlier in the conversation where here you are stressed out and you talked about timing. I think what it's hard for us to understand sometimes is that all the work we do on ourselves isn't just going to impact this, like the work you did on yourself about like letting go and, you know, giving up control and doing a lot of that, not only affected his ability to be able to come and to, you know, find his place and to be able to, you know, put things in order and work together with you. But now here you are in a listing appointment where you're probably talking, if you're talking about those times where you stay quiet, a lot of the times, like you step in and you said, you know, he's an alpha. So you come in and you're sitting with another alpha. I'll give you an example. I just know of a situation that nice property. I know the reason why this top agent didn't get this property is because he's too much of an alpha. Because he stepped into this room and here you have a set of alphas and it's like, who's the bigger alpha? Who's the making the decisions? Who's going to do all this stuff? Ultimately, they went with someone else who wasn't that much of an alpha. And it's like you have to know who to be at any moment.
You have to feel it, bro.
You have to feel it.
You have to feel it. And if you want to be good in this business, you better refine your craft. And our craft is the listing appointment, bro. If you're not analyzing to the nth degree every performance you're doing, then you're missing the boat. If you want to be a very successful real estate agent, you better get good at getting people to sign, bro. If you can't get people to sign, you better get a day job.
And the only way to do that is by connecting. You have to connect. And you have to be real and you have to be sincere. And you have to want what's best for them. And a lot of times we'll sit in listing appointments and we'll tell people things that are best for them, even though we know that they don't want to hear it, because we got to be true to ourselves in the guidance that we give them, or they're going to know that we're not telling the truth.
Yeah,
And most
they'll blame
importantly,
us later.
They're gonna blame us later.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we're gonna feel that, and we don't do that. So,
I love it, man. I think that's very wise, and it's no wonder why you guys continue to grow. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's if you're not connecting, then the question is why not, right? Like why not? What right? And if you're humble, you'll look and you'll see, okay, well, it's because I need to mature more in this area. Oh, it's because my ego. Oh, it's because I don't have the systems. Oh, it's because of this or that. But it sounds like that's what you guys have been tapping into. And that's the refinement right there. What about in terms of, because, okay, you came on board and you started to do all that. Did you start like solidifying the systems? Is that what you mainly came on and did to be able to now say we're double when I came?
yeah, I think you know, there's a lot of ingredients that go into a gumbo, you know, to make it taste good. And you know, when I initially walked in, what I could see is, like Justin was saying, you know, there's so much going on. There's so many details of going on. And so I had to break every deal down by like, well, what is every part to every deal? You know, and so I systematically went through like, okay, so like we have our, you know, phone call, and then our listing appointment, and then our listing book, and then and before the appointment, we need to make sure that email goes out, and then we have the appointment, and then we have our video book, and we have our follow up, and then we have a time if we're going to bring the team in, we bring the team in, then we have
send orchids.
Yeah, you got to send orchids, and like we have like a whole system. There's probably like, you know, 40, 50 steps in the transaction. And so I just broke it down because I was new to the single family residential aspect on selling individual houses. My background was in private equity and dealing with like larger urban infill master plan communities and
some more numbers,
spreadsheets.
not emotional.
Yeah, non-emotional, business.
Yeah.
So
No
I
orchids there.
No, big, sometimes, but different parties. But the thing is I had to break it down systematically. And then also, who are the buyers that are coming into our listings? Like, where's there additional meat on the table that we're not getting? You know, it's not just about the listing. You know, we get the listing, great, but there's more business that rolls off of that. Well, how do we capture it? And how do we capture it the most efficient way possible? Time in, money out. That's my thing. Time in, money out. How much time are we putting in? How much money's coming out? And that's the equation we can use to go ahead and look at different opportunities and decide, is this worth it or is it not? So I had to break it down. And then I was like, okay, now we have to put this in an aspect that Justin can see and understand simply, because he's big picture, not detailed. I can't give this guy, we tried. Remember, we tried. I actually built a Google sheet when we first started. And then our friend, and
he gave up on me, bro. He used to want me to wear a suit too. He'd be like, I'm gonna take you to Brooks Brothers.
Bro, we
Oh, he wanted you to wear a suit?
Yeah,
dude,
bro.
we went into this listing we had in Topanga, and we had gotten the listing.
Yeah.
Or he had gotten the listing.
Yeah.
And it was the second time that we were meeting with this client.
Yeah.
We rolled up.
Yeah.
And Justin was like really Justin. Like he was like back in the day Justin. Not now Justin, but like back in the day Justin. He rolled up in the Lexus. He had his basketball shorts on, like just below the knee. He had his like black t-shirt, like something on, with a hat on and his sunglasses. And the Jordans, and always with the J's.
Always with the J's.
And he walked into the house, and the house was backwards, and I was just tripping. I was like, this is like a $2 million house. Like, what are you doing? You know? And so I was like, Jay, like we gotta work on your presence. Yeah, because like all of this fits in. Like this is cool if we're working on houses in between, like say like on the low level, like $500,000 up to like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
But like my vision, time in, money out, and our vision is to sell less houses at a higher price point, so that we can spend more time with our family.
Sure.
End goal of everything that we do is to spend more time with our family. That's it. But when I saw him, I was like, oh man, like, so we talked about that, and I was like, we gotta get some Brooks Brothers, or like get you dressed up, and like it did not work out.
I just have a
Tell him why it didn't work out.
well, because they're buying the mouthpiece, bro.
Well, and because when we were in the room and Justin told me this, he goes, I'm not comfortable.
Oh, I see.
So we went into
so
a
it's
space.
confidence.
Well, it was discomfort.
Oh,
He couldn't be comfortable inside of the
I don't
room
like it, bro.
because he wasn't comfortable
You
with
look
what
good in
he
the suit,
was
bro.
wearing.
You
He
look good
looks
in the
good,
suit.
but he
Doesn't
doesn't feel
matter.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, bro.
And so
Okay, when we're shooting videos though, I'm never shooting a video without you wearing something nice. And I'll tell you why. Because your wife is gonna make me redo that
that's
video
right.
anyways, bro.
Don't worry, P, we're working on it. But realistically
But
speaking,
now I want to tell you now. I get more dressed up than him. He comes to listing appointments with a black T-shirt on, hat, didn't shave, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you, bro?" And he's like, "Oh, I've been drinking the same Kool-Aid you drink."
no,
Justin."
P, you gotta understand. Like literally, the disparity was growing too great.
Yeah.
I was too dressed up,
Yeah.
and I was looking at him. I was like, "We don't look like we're on the same team."
Oh, so that goes with
yeah,
my
so I had to start bringing it down. He started bringing it back up, and I was like, "Okay, we're trying to find the middle again."
That's
Well,
funny, bro.
I
But-
don't ever wear very expensive clothes, but
Yeah.
my watch is on point and my shoes
Yeah.
will always be on
Yeah.
point.
Oh,
True.
Nice.
Trust me.
Nice.
That's what's important to me.
Oh, okay.
So we had to bring it. We had to break that down, and that was a process.
At the end of the day, bro, do clients care?
Honestly, the truth, you can't go with flip-flops and socks. You can't go with like a bathing suit on. But I mean, the truth is people smell BS.
That's true.
And we go in there
true.
with our heart wide open.
Yeah.
We tell them the truth.
Yeah.
And they
makes
know
sense.
it. They know it's real.
That makes
so
sense.
it doesn't matter what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm comfortable and that he's comfortable. And if we're both comfortable, we're dangerous.
I would say though, also because now you also have a portfolio. You have history, and you're like, well, you already have the brand. You know what I'm saying? Like as opposed to if you're just starting and you have this mentality. I'm saying for like the people that are just starting in real estate and they're like, oh, I'm gonna wear whatever I want, bro. If you don't have the the results yet, you probably have to dress up a little bit more. You have to compensate in some other areas. I mean, now you guys are Justin and Nick, Shore Homes. Like it's like, yeah, you wear whatever you want. Like, hey, I have this whole list of results and experience, and this is who I am now.
Again, brother, we're talking about pie in the sky. When you get someone to sign, it's about getting the core need, about connecting and getting them to like you and trust you. That's it. It's that simple. People overthink it.
How much of that get to like you or trust you for you now has to do with this is my past experience? Because now are you coming on to the appointments and it's like, oh, I already know these guys. They're the local guys.
Look, I think that I had a brand and he came on and he like put it into orbit because he's a branding expert. Okay, so there's a piece there where in 91364, when we go in the room, sometimes we don't have to say anything. We just we don't even open the book maybe.
Yeah.
We just sign. So it's hard to quantify it and know.
I see.
But I'm telling you right now, there's rooms that we go into where we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
It has to do with confidence and getting people to like you and trust you. That's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like we just had a listing in Calabasas. We went in there, neither one of us said a word for like 45 minutes. It was this widow and she was crying and she just wanted to be heard, man.
Wow.
And so we just sat there and we just sat with her. And it wasn't like it was contrived. We really, I think we both cried too with her.
Yeah.
And sometimes we go in and we're on the spot and an alpha's like, I want the numbers, I want this and that. And I just look at him and then he goes in and sometimes they want to connect and like talk about the Dodgers or whatever. But we are like water. We go where the room needs it. That's it.
It was funny. That was one of the. That was one. I went to go work one of my first open houses by myself when I first started, and I didn't know anything about open houses and nothing about the process. And I went and sat this property. And I'm calling Justin, bro. I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, Justin, what? Like, and he's not picking up. And then he picks up. He's like, bro, just go sit there. And I was just all like, oh, now I felt really uncomfortable. Like I didn't know what to tell him. I'm detail oriented. Don't tell someone that's detail oriented not to, like, don't tell them any details. You just tell them just go sit there. So like it was hard, to sit in that space.
Yeah.
But one of the sayings that he had and has when we first met was, I'm like, well, what do you do? He's like, just be like water. You just got to be like water. And I didn't understand what he was talking about, like for months. I was like, what? We have to like prepare for the listing appointment. We need to know the facts. And he's like, just be like water. And so and this is a friend of decades.
Yeah.
And I still just didn't understand until later what he meant. And now I fully understand.
Yeah.
But it took a while to understand that. And it's hard to be water inside of a space that you're not familiar with.
You know, I had this really amazing sales coach, and he told me you always need to over prepare. That way nothing will, no curveballs will come. And I did that for a long time, and I tried to be detail oriented, and I was prepared. But the truth is I realized it was just that it was helping me to be more confident. It was just that, like, having that in there, because I almost never used it. I didn't need it. All I really need is to, like, I need to like flow with the room. I need to get them to like me and trust me, and I need to be me, and we need to be us, and it's game over. And if they don't hire us, God bless them. They're gonna have a culture shock hiring someone else, like a discount broker. Good luck. You're gonna call me in 3 or 4 months. It's okay. We're busy. It's okay. You know, and I think that the confidence thing is everything. I think that being prepared has more to do with preparing yourself than it does anything else. We could go in there with no analysis, no book, no nothing, with a listing contract, and we could probably get high results in getting people to sign just like that.
How do you know you've connected with someone?
Well, if they cry, usually that's a good indication.
So wow. Okay, cool.
If they cry in the listing appointment, that usually means that you got a core need.
What percentage of
Not
people
that I
cry
try to
with you
make them
guys?
cry, but
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
how do we know we connect? You know, I think that we're very gifted at that. I don't even know how to put it into words.
I think that there's an element of him and an element of me, you know, maybe through childhood and stuff like that. But we're both pretty excellent communicators, and we've also been able to be a part of a lot of different groups, you know, like friends groups, and a lot of different situations through our traveling and things like that. And it allows us to connect with a lot of different people because we have a lot of common ground. And I think that's something that's really hard to teach. And that's one of the elements like that a unicorn has, you know, and that's one of the items.
How were both of your parents? Because now you guys have me wondering, like, do you guys have like very good, like, because communication, I mean, your mother teaches you that, you know what?
It wasn't just my parents, bro. It was the village. Like, I have great parents, but I had incredible mentors. I know he has great mentors too. And the key is we really listen, bro. You know, we listen. And I think that we try to emulate people we want to be like. And then as you get further on, it becomes more like calculus rather than geometry or addition, you know. But if you stick with that plan of listening and dropping your ego and letting go of control, I think those things will really help.
So now that you guys have seen the impact that the village can have on you, now you see that you want that same village, if not better, for your kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do you create that village?
I think, you know, through some of the activities that you place them in, you know, through sports. You know, I think sports is a big one. You know, it can be dance. It could be different places where, you know, your kids are going to interact, you know, with a lot of different people. And every different interaction that we've had as humans is going to add to the collective us. You know, and so, and there's parts that you're gonna pull that you like, and there's parts that you're gonna know that you don't like. You know, but collectively, that's gonna make the mix of who you are, and that's the same thing that we want with the kids. You don't want to, in my opinion, I'm not interested in sheltering only to one aspect. Like they have the broader the experience, you know, like the better the product. You know.
And I think failing is beautiful. And I think that the worst things in my life have led me to grow the most. You know, the biggest pain or the biggest loss, or all those things have like really made me stronger. So I think that not being scared to fail or be rejected or not have things go right, I think that's super important. You know, like, you gotta have a thick skin in this business and in life. You know, you can't protect your kids from life, and life's gonna hit you, and I think that you have to take everything in stride and know that when it hurts, that's when you're getting stronger. If you can switch it like that, where it's like, okay, this is gonna make me a better person or stronger, or when you fail in a listing appointment, be like, okay, well, I'm this much closer to making money when I let this go, or whatever. When you fail, that's when you grow, and if you can help your kids understand that, I think that's one of the biggest things.
I know that's one thing that I'm working on with my kids, and one of my mentors has been telling me that. He's like, Pablo, I want you to start trying to see, if you can put your kids in a situation where they're gonna fail, and where, not that you're gonna celebrate the failure, but you're gonna celebrate, and you're not gonna treat them different if they got a bad grade on something, because you don't want them to believe that they're only worth something if they have wins. That is what you're saying right now, because failure has a lot to teach you.
Everybody's gonna fail, bro.
100%.
We fail all the time. I don't even feel it anymore.
Yeah.
When we fail on a listing appointment, I literally do not feel it.
That's good.
We have a saying. We have a saying within our team. Due to that failure, the quicker you get over it, the quicker you get paid. And
we don't have time to.
We don't have time to feel that.
You get like desensitized to it, and you get numb to it. But the truth is it's the way you stomach it, and it's the perspective, and it's the narrative, right? Some people are like, oh, the listing appointment, oh, I'm not going to work, or blah blah. No, we're like, okay, we failed, right? We're gonna go win, and we're gonna go run over our competition next time.
Imagine if you're like, it's 2025, I'm so nervous and I'm so scared, and this is happening and that's happening, and this is expected to happen, and now you have a listing appointment. And I haven't gotten a commission check in a long time. Imagine the kind of like fear you're walking into that appointment with. And I think that's what you're alluding to. If you...
For what though? How is that serving you? How's that
It
feeding
won't.
you?
It won't.
Yeah, they better hope they're not going against us.
Man, that's brutal. Yeah, I get it.
I don't mean that egotistically. I'm just saying, like, this is
I
real.
get you.
This is the
what?
jungle.
But you know what? And you know what? This is obviously coming from a person that's like have gone through a journey of healing, and you could say that in a mature way. Because if you say that, some people will take that as like, you're so insensitive. Like, but at the end of the day, this industry doesn't care about sensitivity. It cares about results.
I think the truth is, if you get to the conclusion that, based on something like that somebody's insensitive, the truth is that you have to take a look at yourself in the way that you're interpreting what they said, because there's a lot of work that you 100%. Have to be doing on yourself
100%.
if you're viewing what someone else says as sensitive.
Yeah.
Because maybe the truth is that there's more work for you to get done.
But how about this? How about this? You go into a listing appointment. You don't think the sellers feel that?
100%.
You don't think the sellers
100%.
see that? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's the truth, P.
Yeah, it's 100%.
It's desperation combined with commission breath, and people know immediately, like, this person doesn't have my best interest in mind. What they're interested in is getting a paycheck.
Or they're scared.
Justin,
how are they going to sell my 7-figure asset?
Yeah.
And they can't even sit here at the table with me and have confidence. I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, there's one piece of it that's like, marketing and systems and this and that. But the biggest thing that I've ever done in my career is work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing I've ever done.
That's the mic drop right there, bro.
Still daily, I work on myself, and same with him.
Okay. So to finish off, because man, this is such a good conversation. Okay, so how are you working on yourself? I know you alluded to therapy, and you're like, oh man, like all this stuff. Because, okay, let's just take something so small and so like seemingly insignificant. Hey, let's do a marketing video and let's get Justin in front of the camera. 3 years ago, that freaked you out. That was like, oh my gosh, like, that's going to be crazy. That's going to be insane. Now you said working on yourself has been looking like having the conversation, speaking to therapists, having coaches, allowing people to come in and kind of like help you out, help you through this. Okay, so where are you at now, and how did you get here? Like, what does working on yourself look like for you guys?
There's so many different pieces. Every night I take a steam room in my house. and I listen to music and I stretch for like 30 minutes and I meditate and think about the day and think about what I want and my children or whatever it is. But I go in with an intention. I have a men's group that I've been in for 17 years in Topanga Canyon with some incredible, amazing friends. Like, you know,
what do you guys do at that men's group? What is that men's group?
We like, I guess underneath it all, we help each other be better men, you know. But I've gone to Africa with them. We've done backpacking trips, you know, and they're all older than me, and that's helped me a lot. But there's so cool. All these different things. But the truth is like, I constantly want to get better, and I look outside the box. You know, I'm working with someone in Africa right now that's helping me to work on my, you know, dynamic with my family of origin, because that's hot for me. You know, like, I really don't shy away from like the pain or the negativity. I really try to like focus on it. I try to get better because, you know, when I evolve in that space, I grow everywhere else too. So it's not like work centric, bro. It's more like it's personal. Like, when I do work centered around my wife, who's challenging and she's the love of my life, but you know, she definitely makes me work for it. Like, when I do that, I go into a listing appointment. I
laugh because I have the same kind of wife, bro.
When I work on Porsche, then those tools they help me everywhere else in my life.
I love it, man. I love it. It's so true.
It transcends into work.
Yes, it does. Into every relationship that you have.
All of it.
Mm-hmm. When you say family of origin, not to go so deep into that, is that like going back to your childhood? Is that something like that?
Well, that, you know, everything that I did in my life was a result of that. And looking at it from that place at this point in my life, and being able to touch that and looking at the details of that, you know, it allows me to massage it and come up with different pieces that are helping me. You know, like, there's a lot of pain from everyone's childhood.
Sure.
And people shy away from looking at it because it hurts and it's painful. But I've learned that it's more painful to not look at it
100%.
than it is to really look at it.
And are you doing that with the help of a therapist?
I have all kind of stuff going on, bro.
Like what?
I'm working with probably 3 therapists. I have a men's group, just to start. I mean,
that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. And obviously a lot of this is a financial investment from your standpoint.
I double down on everything because I believe in me. I believe in my team. I believe in the direction, and it exponentially, you know, returns.
I love it, bro. It's so good, man. That is so good. And that's what people don't see, because that's the stuff that's like not sexy, right? So it's not like, oh, I, you know, did this or I'm doing that. Like, that's the stuff but that's your core, man. If that's not strong, nothing else will be. It's all a facade. It's all for Instagram. Mm-hmm. It's all for social media.
So the key for me with this camera thing was my breathing. Believe it or not, it was that simple. You know, I started talking about it and thinking about it. And then they had me close my eyes, and he's like, okay, put me back in, remember the park?
Yeah.
And I couldn't, and I was like, and he's like, what were you doing? And it's like, and he's like, you're not breathing. And then, you know, so I started breathing, bro. And that's how simple it was. But had I not had the courage to do that, maybe I would have never got in front of a camera again.
And here we are in front of 3 cameras.
Sometimes it's very simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you don't breathe, you can't think right. You know?
So you weren't breathing?
I wasn't breathing.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
It's the same thing.
I know it sounds silly.
Yeah. No, it's not, but I mean, it does sound silly, but that's what was affecting you. But you know what's crazy is that, like, that same level of confidence that you have inside of a listing appointment is like, sometimes you wish you could take that confidence and take that into anywhere.
But you can't.
In your life.
You can if you put intention on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can get better at anything you want if you really put work into it. Literally, any human being can get better at anything they want.
I agree with that. Did you want to share something about what you're doing to work on yourself?
No, I mean, you know, from my perspective, it's always just, you know, reading, You know, trying to find something. I don't actually read. It's more just like I listen to a book on tape.
Yeah, I love that.
Try to get more sunshine. You know, like in first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit, and you know, as far as getting the workouts in the morning, it's paramount to our success for both of us, not only as professionals but as fathers and as husbands.
Yeah, that's good.
And just really trying to keep an open mind, you know, to what other people have done, and to be a student of the game. You know, the biggest thing is to be a student of the game. We're constantly learning. We're seeing what other people are doing. We're seeing how other people are presenting themselves. It doesn't even have to be within this industry. Like, you don't have to stay within one stream. Like, you can I pull motivation and inspiration outside of the real estate industry all the time. I think there's a documentary recently on Netflix, I Am Tim, you know, and he's Avicii, and Avicii's passion for music is the part that I pulled from that, you know. You know, but everybody in every industry can be an inspiration if you're looking for it, you know.
That's very true.
And so that's
it comes down to mindset. It comes down to like you're willing to learn. You're like, I don't know everything.
It's not willing. We want to.
Yeah,
and so there's a demand, there's a driving force inside.
You have to.
That every day, I want to wake up and be the best person I can be.
That's good.
And that's something that Justin carries as well, you know, and helps us.
That's good, man.
Big time.
It's not even about money sometimes,
It's not.
bro. It's like we want to be the best team in the game. That's what it is. We want to be the best Rolls Royce team in the game. That's the goal. And so for us, we're not looking at like selling one house. We want to sell them all.
I love it. Well, guys, I'm excited, man. I'm excited I've seen Samuelito since he was this small, bro. You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited to not only see him grown up, but I'm excited to see the type of man that he becomes. Because, bro, having parents that love him, having a support, like even financial platform to be launched from, bro, it's exciting. So it's exciting to know that, God willing, you know, God gives us life and, you know, health, would be able to see all that. I'm excited to see your guys' business grow. I'm excited to get to know the unicorn. You know, I'm excited to just do life, man. It is exciting, and it's all really exciting.
And you know we're gonna do it all right beside HSH, because they do all shore homes, photography, and video, and
Straight up.
they are the best company that money can buy in this real estate industry.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.